Step onto this island, and death could strike before your second breath. 30 kilometers off Brazil's coast lies a forbidden island overrun by deadly snakes and wrapped in silence, mystery, and fear. And here's where it gets even stranger. Out in the Atlantic Ocean, about 30 kilometers from Brazil's coastline, sits a rocky, forest-covered island that looks peaceful from a distance. Blue water, green canopy, sunlight bouncing off stone cliffs. It doesn't scream danger, but nobody's allowed to go there. Not tourists, not locals, not thrill seekers chasing viral YouTube content. The Brazilian government has banned public access completely. The only people who ever set foot on it are authorized researchers and the Brazilian Navy. And even they go in cautiously, rarely, and never casually. Why? Because this place earned a nickname that isn't dramatic. It's accurate. Death Island. The air there feels heavy. Wind moves through the trees, but the silence underneath it feels wrong. Locals tell stories of birds dropping from the sky. The smell of salt mixes with decay. Leaves crunch underfoot, and you don't know if it's just the breeze or something alive shifting a few inches away. There are no houses, no docks, no footprints in the sand. Just the constant psychological pressure that you don't belong. Even standing offshore, looking at it from a boat, there's this uneasy thought creeping in. What kind of place survives better without humans? This isn't a storm zone. It's not volcanic, it's not cursed. It's simply overrun by one thing: snakes. And not just a few. Imagine knowing that almost every step you take could land within striking distance of something lethal. Would you risk it? Or would you stay exactly where you are, safely offshore? Because on Snake Island, fear isn't a story, it's the atmosphere. Scientific name, Bothrops insularis. Snake Island doesn't just have snakes, it belongs to one. The golden lancehead is the island's only venomous species and sits completely unchallenged at the top of the food chain. No predators hunt it. Nothing keeps its population in check. Its eyes glow metallic gold, and its triangular, spear-shaped head is built for precision strikes. And they aren't rare. On some parts of the island, they're everywhere. When the island split from mainland Brazil thousands of years ago, the species evolved in isolation. On the mainland, its relatives hunt rodents, but Snake Island has almost no mammals. So the golden lancehead adapted to hunt migratory birds. Birds can fly away after a bite, so evolution made the snake's venom far more powerful, up to 3 times stronger than its relatives. The toxin rapidly damages tissue, disrupts circulation, and paralyzes prey within moments. A tired bird lands after a long migration. In seconds, the snake strikes. Fast, silent, final. With limited prey and no competition, the golden lancehead evolved into one of nature's most efficient predators. Some estimates even suggest densities of up to 5 snakes per square meter in certain areas. Snakes don't actively chase prey for long distances here. They wait, perched in branches, hidden in the brush, coiled under leaves. Death on standby. When prey is scarce, competition sharpens everything. Speed, venom potency, reaction time. The stronger venom likely evolved because losing a meal wasn't an option. If a bird escaped after a bite, that snake might not eat again for weeks. And that's the real mystery. Isolation didn't just trap these snakes, it transformed them. Cut off from the mainland, locked in a confined space, forced to survive with limited resources, nature pushed them to extremes. Snake Island isn't chaotic, it's calculated. A closed ecosystem where death doesn't roam wildly. It waits.
Quer que cutuque para ela andar ou não? Mesh.
Scientific name, Dipsas albifrons. And just when you think every creature here is built for violence, this one changes the tone completely. The snail-eating snake isn't a ruler. It isn't feared. It doesn't dominate anything. In a place defined by venom and speed, this species survives through the exact opposite strategy. It feeds almost exclusively on snails. No birds, no ambush attacks from branches. No lethal toxin is designed to shut down circulatory systems. It's non-aggressive, slow-moving, and careful. Almost fragile compared to the golden lancehead. You won't find it perched high, waiting to strike. It stays low. The forest floor is low, beneath decaying leaves, inside crevices, in the damp shadows where snails move quietly. And here's the truth, that's not preference. That's survival. On an island ruled by a hyper-venomous apex predator, the snail-eating snake survives by staying invisible. Every movement feels measured. Every appearance above the cover is a risk. Because if a golden lancehead finds it, this isn't a fight. It's over. That's the contrast that makes Snake Island so fascinating. On one side, you have a predator perfected by isolation. On the other hand, a species that survives by avoiding conflict entirely. One evolved to dominate, the other evolved to disappear. And somehow, both exist in the same ecosystem. That's balance. Brutal, but balanced. Even in a place nicknamed Death Island, not everything survives through strength. Some survive through silence. Scientific name, Skynax peixotoi. But here's the part that feels almost unfair. Not everything on Snake Island has venom, not everything has fangs. The tree frog Skynax peixotoi is harmless. No toxins, no claws, no speed advantage. It doesn't intimidate anything. In fact, in a setting like this, it feels completely outmatched. So, how does it survive? Silence. During the day, it stays hidden beneath the canopy, pressed against bark, tucked into leaves, motionless. While predators coil and wait below, this frog becomes part of the background. No sudden jumps, no careless movement, stillness becomes armor. But night changes everything. When darkness falls and the forest cools, the frog begins to call. A soft, echoing sound through the trees. Not loud, but enough. That call is instinct. It's how it attracts mates. It's how the species continues. And every single call is a gamble. Because predators are always listening. A snake doesn't need sight if it can trace vibration and sound. One wrong movement, one extended note. That's all it takes. Life here hangs by a thread measured in seconds. The frog isn't strong, it isn't deadly. It survives through patience, timing, and knowing when not to move. On an island built around venom and ambush, this tiny amphibian represents something different. Endurance. Not through power, but through restraint. And on Snake Island, that might be the bravest survival strategy of all. Scientific name, Elania mesoluca. And this is where the story turns brutal. The white-crested Elania isn't from Snake Island. It's a migratory bird from mainland Brazil, built for distance, built for open skies. It travels miles over the Atlantic, chasing seasons, chasing survival. And sometimes it just needs to rest. From above, the island looks peaceful. Dense green forest, quiet shoreline, no visible threat. So the bird glides down, wings tired, looking for a branch and a few minutes of stillness. It has no idea what's waiting. This is the predator-prey sequence in its purest form. Somewhere beneath the leaves, a golden lancehead is already coiled, motionless, patient, not chasing, calculating. The bird lands. One shift of weight, one rustle of leaves, strike. It happens fast. No dramatic warning, just a sharp, precise bite. Within seconds, the venom begins working. The paralysis effect kicks in almost immediately for a small bird. Muscles fail. Wings stop responding. The circulatory system starts breaking down under the toxin's assault. When people describe the venom as destroying the blood, it's a metaphor for how aggressively it attacks from within. The bird never even understands what happened. What was meant to be a short stop becomes its final landing, and then the forest resets. Another migratory season will come, another bird will descend unaware, another ambush will follow. That's the cycle of death on Snake Island. Not chaotic, not emotional, just precise, repeated survival. But the bigger question is, how did this happen? Thousands of years ago, rising sea levels separated Snake Island from mainland Brazil, trapping the animals that lived there. With isolation came pressure to survive, and the golden lancehead adapted faster than anything else. With almost no mammals to hunt, it evolved stronger venom to ensure birds, its main prey, couldn't escape after a bite. Over generations, isolation amplified the traits that worked and eliminated those that didn't, turning the snake into a perfectly specialized predator. And strangely, humans never interfered. The island's danger kept people away, leaving it untouched by cities, farming, or development. In a way, Snake Island proves that nature doesn't need us to thrive. Sometimes it evolves into something far more powerful when we stay out of the way.